Coral Island just released its 1.1 update and I am beyond excited for this one. Hello everyone and welcome to another video. If you don't know anything about Coral Island, it's kinda like a mix between Stardew and Animal Crossing. This game is incredibly cozy, has some interesting storylines and a lot of charming NPCs. If that sounds like something you would enjoy, then stick around. Since this is only my second time playing, I didn't have any specific goals for year 1, however I do want to try and get to the Merfolk Kingdom as soon as I can, since that's what the update was centered around. That's about it. Before we start, I'd like to mention quickly, these videos take a ton of effort to make, so if you enjoy the content, then please leave a like, it really helps me out a lot, and maybe even consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, grab a snack, some water, and enjoy the video. As always, we have to create our character at the start, but more importantly, choose a name for our farm. And I ended up with the Goo Lagoon, because who doesn't love a SpongeBob reference? We finally arrive at Coral Island on top of the most adorable chicken boat. At the pier, we got introduced to Mayor Connor and Mr. Wataru, who is the owner of said chicken boat. Connor led us to a new land and farmhouse where we got to meet the local carpenters, Yoko and Linda, who were kind enough to fix up the old shack, so that I can at least sleep in it. Yoko mentioned that if I can gather the materials by myself, they can upgrade it even further. After having a slight panic attack while looking at all of the clutter that is scattered around my farm, Connor gave me some tools and seeds to start my farming business. I cleaned up a little area in front of my house, planted the turnip and daisy seeds, crafted my first of many chests, sorted my inventory, then headed out into town to meet more villagers. I stopped by the general store where Connor and Sam were waiting for me. Sam is the owner of the local general store. With the little money I had, I bought some carrot seeds, planted them back at the farm, and spent the remaining day running around, looking for forageables and meeting more people. There's over 100 different NPCs in this game, so I'm obviously not going to mention every single person. Some are more important than others, so I'll cover the ones I interact the most with. After going to bed, I reached my first level in foraging. Day number 2, I watered my crops, saw some cute monkeys while foraging, then visited the carpenter to upgrade my house. Luckily, the first upgrade doesn't cost any money, and you can even change the style of your house. Dinda and Yoko changed out the moldy wood and even left me a free TV. Thanks guys! With the money I got from finishing the quest, I was able to afford a backpack upgrade. Back at home I had crafted another chest, then headed out again to meet more villagers. And I have to mention, I love the interactive map. It tells you exactly where everyone is, and even the villagers you haven't met yet. This needs to be in more games. I met Jim, who was incredibly rude, and 3 seconds later I met Leah, who was even ruder. I cleaned up my farm a bit more and then went to bed early since I didn't have any energy left. It was the first rainy day and I was very happy that I didn't have to water my crops. I got an interesting letter from Sonny and Eleanor, who told me to stop by the beach shack for a welcome gift. I never say no to free gifts. I of course immediately went to the beach and waited for the shop to open up. Inside I met, well, Sonny and Eleanor, who handed me a fishing rod and a bug net. After catching a beetle and a caterpillar, I visited the museum for the first time, where I got acquainted with Scott. Apparently Scott already had finished the museum collection a while ago, but it had to be sold since the town doesn't have any money. I told him I'd be happy to help out to restore the museum collection once again. I spent a good amount of my time catching more insects, found a weird altar next to the beach, the cutest froggy garden pot, and by the end of the day donated all of the bugs I found. I leveled up my foraging skill again, which gave me my first mastery point to spend. With that, I unlocked the Speed Demon perk, which lets me run slightly faster. As I was making my way into town, I got a cutscene where everyone was standing around this building and yelling at Karen, who is with Pufferfish Cooperation. Really? Karen? I'm not super deep into Coral Island lore, but what I know is there was an oil spill a few years ago, which we can very much see on the beach, and some people suspect that it was Pufferfish who set this all up on purpose, so that they can turn Coral Island into an oil town. What a lovely idea! Who doesn't want to live in an oil town? So Pufferfish equals bad. We don't want these guys here. After this eventful scene, I stopped by the carpenter where I gave Yoko a birthday present. I headed down to the beach where I did some fishing at the pier, then later by the town river and the lake. I left the flamingos in here. they're so cute. By the end of the day, I donated all of the fish I've caught to the museum and then got another cutscene with Scott. Scott wants to expand the museum, but as we all know by now, the town doesn't have any money. Instead, he wants to set up, and I quote, a Kickstarter campaign. For that, however, I need to donate a total of 50 items to the museum. By the way, I have no idea what's going on here. I don't know why the cutscene looks so weird. Let's just hope it doesn't happen in the future anymore. After going to bed, I got my first level in fishing. I had Mark at my front door on morning of day 5, just another handsome villager. He let me know that the mines are open for exploring now. I forgot how rude some people are at the beginning. You'll love me at some point. I harvested my turnips and daisies, bought some peonies and cauliflower seeds at the general store, which I planted at the farm, then made my way into the mines. Inside I got to meet Kira, who handed me a sword so that I can defend myself in here. There's a total of 4 shafts in here, but right now the only one open for exploring is the earth shaft. I made my way down, found some copper ore and cute looking monsters. I wanted to make it to floor 10 already, but unfortunately I didn't have any energy left. Like in Stardew, you unlock a checkpoint every 5th level, so that's a bummer. Since I was in the mines yesterday, I had Pablo visiting me on day 6, one of the 2 local blacksmiths, who handed me a blueprint for a furnace, which I crafted right away and also made 2 scarecrows to protect my crops from birds. I got 2 levels in mining yesterday, which earned me another skill point. I always had issues with getting ore later on, so I put that into having a chance of receiving double ore while mining. After that, I went yet again to the mines. This time I did make it to floor 10 though, where I found my first ring. This slightly increases my tool speed. Later I went into town to look for some forageables and new bugs. While there, I got another cutscene. Mayor Connor showed me the community center and explained the town rank system to me. Currently, the town rank is at F, which is the worst one. To increase the rating, I have to donate to the museum, complete temple offerings, and clean the ocean while diving. Each rank unlocks new items at shop inventories, crops and seeds, and even farm animals. It's a pretty neat system. I spent a few in-game hours bug catching, and after going to bed, I had a very weird dream. A voice appeared and told me to visit one of the sick trees around town. I'm sure that's normal. The next morning, I got a letter from Jeff Smith, which contained a free sprinkler for me. Then went into the forest to inspect a tablet on one of the sick trees. Shortly after, a Ghibli character appeared, who ran away from me. I'm sure it's fine. After this very normal event, I wanted to upgrade my axe at the blacksmith, but they were closed unfortunately. Instead, I went down into the mines again, where I made it to floor 15. I gave Antonio and Paul a birthday gift and then did some foraging by the beach. I had 2 mastery points to spend the next day, one for 10% less awareness of insects and ocean critters, and one in combat, which I put in to do 20% more damage with any weapon. I had a letter from Ling in my mailbox, who is looking for a diver to help her with her work. I have been waiting for this one. I also got a letter from the chieftain, which was this weird creature we saw yesterday, who told me to visit him at his home. I love how he ran away from me and then sent a letter the following day. I reorganized my scarecrow and sprinkle layout and then went to visit the chieftain. Upon arriving, he explained that I need to help the goddess of the lake in order to cure the sickness that is spreading around town. I assume he's talking about the oil spill? A bit of magic here and there, one very quick ritual, and I now have the 3rd eye unlocked. With that, I can understand the language that is written on the altars. After that, I went to the lake temple, where I spoke with the goddess. In order to help her and the island, I need to bring offerings to these 4 altars. It's basically like the community bundles. I had a look at all of the different altars, then stopped by the blacksmith on my way back to the farm, where I put in my pickaxe for an upgrade. I brought some items over to the temple and finished the resource bundle. As a thanks, the goddess gave me her blessing to travel freely between shrines, which is a fancy way of saying fast travel. I also got a free recycling machine for finishing the first bundle. After dropping off some items at the farm, I went down to the pier where I met Ling, who handed me a diving suit. Ling works at the lab in town, and she needs someone to activate the solar orbs in the ocean, which can help clean up the area, and in exchange I can keep the suit. For now, my task is to find 5 of these solar orbs, but there are way more than that. With my new diving suit, I headed down into the ocean for the first time. This is my favorite activity in the entire game. I don't know why, it's just so satisfying to clean up the ocean. Not only do you get a whole bunch of trash, which is needed for quite a few crafting recipes, but also there's new critters, resources, forageables, and of course the Merfolk Kingdom. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. I found my first orb shortly after, which cleaned up the nasty oil in this area, but I couldn't stay too long since I was already out of stamina. I unlocked a fast travel location at the pier, went over to the blacksmith again to open some geodes and coffers I found while diving, donated the artifacts to the museum, and later accepted an errand from Mayor Connor while I was in town. On day 9, I had yet another villager at my front door. This time it's Surya? Am I saying that correct? He told me about the different types of kelp that I can find while exploring around the ocean. There are 4 different types. Same as ore, there's bronze, silver, gold, and osmium. These are used for upgrading the bug net and fishing rod. He also gave me a blueprint for a kelp extractor. I harvested my flowers, wanted to hand the mayor a peony for a quest he posted yesterday, so I waited for an hour in front of his house, and then accidentally ate it. Right in front of him. What's wrong with me? I gave Kenny a birthday bouquet, bought more cauliflower and potato seeds at the general store, I planted them at the farm, and then went diving again. I activated 2 more beacons, cleaned up more trash, and found a sea slug and common starfish. I picked up my copper pickaxe, opened the coffers I found earlier, and while in town, I saw Connor again. This time I didn't eat the flower though, thankfully. The next morning, I received another letter from Millie, who let me know that there's some new books in the library. I didn't even know that we had a library. After tending to my crops, I made my way into town because today is the Cherry Blossom Festival, our first event. This is another thing that I really like about this game. Every single festival has its own intro cutscene and a pamphlet where you can see where all of the activities are being held. Very handy. I tried my luck on the Balap Karung minigame. It's basically a sack race. I wasn't doing particularly well, so I had to compete twice to get all of the rewards, which were a buttload of candied tree seeds. I had a look at the festival shop, though I couldn't really afford anything, and completely forgot that there is a potluck soup. Welp, the only reasonable thing I had with me was a moral. Guess it's better than nothing. Judge Rose was testing the soup first, but she wasn't too impressed with it, which is a bummer. Let's just hope I remember it next year. Day 11, I met Millie at the community center where she introduced me to the merit points. I can collect these points by attending festivals and completing errands. I can exchange them for various goods at this little box right here in the community center. I didn't even have nearly enough points to afford anything right now, so I'll come back to this a bit later. While I was here, I had a look at the library section. I think by reading some of these books, you gain experience for certain skills, but I'm not entirely sure since this also came with the new update. For the rest of the morning, I went diving. I managed to find 2 more beacons, a cannonball jellyfish, and some ocean loot. After I was out of energy, I emerged and visited Sam at the general store. Sam told me that back when his parents used to run the shop, they had a whole bunch of local produce, but it's been rough for him lately. Apparently, the only local products that he gets are from me. I find that hard to believe, considering there's a ranch, a winery, and a lot of other people also grow crops, but okay. He mentioned that if I managed to ship 50 bronze quality vegetables and 25 bronze quality fruit, he can open up the local produce section again. I am very far from any of that currently, but I'll try my best. A bit later, I talked to Ling, who told me that I can keep the diving suit and also explained the super coral to me. Basically, the solar orbs that I can find down there heal the oil that is everywhere. I'm sure you know that by now, so I don't need to explain this. The lab is actually a pretty interesting building. In here, I can upgrade the seeds, seedlings, saplings, and fodder quality with kelp essence. That was enough socializing for today. I did a bit of fishing and then went to bed early, where I reached level 2 in farming and unlocked my first tier of sprinklers. With that, I also got a mastery point the next day, which I put into the perk Stay Hydrated, so that my crops have a chance to stay watered the next day. I went over to the lake temple where I finished a spring bundle and got 8 free sugarcane seeds for that. This also unlocked another fast travel point. Back at the farm I planted the sugarcane, I gave Scott a birthday present, and yes, I always hand out flower bouquets. They're liked by almost everyone and are super easy to craft. I put my scythe in for a bronze upgrade at the blacksmith, which is maybe a bit controversial, but this is gonna help tremendously while cleaning the ocean. I made my way over to the mines, where I met the chieftain again. He needs my help to free his friends, which are all stone statues now. Why are they stone statues? I have no idea. There's earth, water and wind, but the fire statue is missing. For now I have to investigate the earth shaft, which is exactly what I did. I made my way down to floor 20, where I found a hammer in a chest, which is a nice upgrade to the sword I've been using, and descended further to floor 25. I didn't have any energy left, so after that I spent the evening running around and collecting forageables. Day 13 I met Butters on my way into town. Cute kitty indeed. Waited patiently for the blacksmith to open, where I picked up my new scythe. I cracked open a few geodes while I was there, donated the gems and fish to the museum, where I got my first tapper as a reward. The rest of my day was spent diving in the ocean to test out my new scythe. I found a total of 4 beacons and some new ocean critters like this funky upside down jellyfish and a pom-pom crab. With all the diving and foraging I did yesterday, I had 2 mastery points to spend. One I put into double foraging and the other for treasure finding to increase the chance of getting artifacts, because they sell for a lot of money. I spent the morning in the earth shaft, where I finally reached floor 40, which is the last level by the way. Down there I found a weird glowing tablet, and upon interacting with it, the chieftain showed up again. Apparently these tablets turned his friends into stone. A reasonable explanation, I guess. I touched the tablet and broke the curse, because I can just do that apparently, and at the entrance I got to meet Grog, the earth giant. He thanked me for freeing him and told me they'll wait at the village for me. Later that day I brought more offerings to the lake temple to free up some chest space. Morning of day 15 I had another mastery point to spend, this time for mining, which I used for have an increased chance of finding geodes, because I remember I was struggling with that a lot on my first playthrough. I harvested my cauliflowers and then made my way over to the giant's village, which is basically right next to my farm. Upon arriving, I saw Grog, who was very shy to perform his magic in front of me. Stage fright. I get that too, buddy, don't worry. He opened up the way to the village for me, and now I can always visit. I have no idea what the lore on the giants and the chieftain is. They live in this tiny village in the forest. Humans apparently can't see them, but I can for some reason, and yeah, that's pretty much all I know. Anyways, as a thanks for freeing Grog, he showed me how to enchant my tools. You either need gems, artifacts or fossils for the enchantment, and the more giants are free, the more enchantments I can put onto my tools. For now I enchanted everything that I had with me, except the watering can. I put in my axe for a bronze upgrade, donated more items to the museum, and with that reached the goal of donating a total of 50 pieces, and also got another sprinkler as a reward. Right away I got a cutscene with Scott, who told me that we now have enough items to launch the Kickstarter campaign. He will reach out to me once he set everything up for that. I bought a few more seeds while I was in town, had enough kelp to craft another sprinkler. I'll work on a better field layout when the season changes, I promise. The remaining day I spent down in the ocean. I freed a strange looking turtle who gave me 2 scuba snacks as a thanks, and after going to bed I saw that we reached town rank E, which unlocks a whole bunch of new stuff like new seats, clothing, books, but more importantly ducks for sale at the local ranch, which reminded me I should build a coop soon. I picked up my bronze axe the next day, chopped some trees at the farm, and then commissioned myself a coop. I spent a good amount of my time fishing at the town river, checked out the new book section at the community center, and later fished by the docks right next to Sarah, where I caught a clownfish and an octopus. Next morning I received a letter from Scott, who told me that the Kickstarter campaign is ready to launch. I harvested my first sugarcane and then went over to the museum, where Millie, Connor and Macy were waiting for us. We launched the campaign together, and now we just have to wait. After that I went diving again, which basically took up most of my day. I found a total of 6 beacons, which means we healed a total of 20 coral sites. Upon activating the last one, there was a small earthquake on the water and also this strange cutscene. I followed the retrieving black route and stumbled upon 2 merfolk people, Agung and Denali, who were surprised to see me down here. Despite there being subtitles, I unfortunately cannot actually understand what they're saying, nor can I speak to them. They left shortly after, and I have a whole new area to explore now. That means new ocean critters, loot, and silver kelp. Upon emerging, Ling greeted me and asked about the shaking. I completely ignored her question and just said I saw some merfolk, which is obviously the most important thing, who didn't even seem surprised about this one bit. Ling mentioned that she'll make me another diving suit so that I can speak with the merfolk. Very excited about that. While going back home, I saw that I have a new fast travel location for the ocean map. As you can see, we still have so much more to explore down there. The coop construction was done today, so I headed over to the ranch for the first time, where I bought myself 2 chickens and 2 ducks. Everyone say hello to Bobby and Kiwi, and Chico and Poncho. Unfortunately, it was raining today, so I couldn't let them outside. The chickens look so goofy, I love them. I opened some coffers at the blacksmith, donated the artifacts that I got, and checked out the new seeds over at Sam's store, where I bought some soybeans, which I planted at the field. I gave Mark a shiitake for his birthday, which is like the only person where I know his love gift. Also, Mark works at the local animal shelter, which I'll check out a bit later. I didn't really know what else to do, so I decided to take a look at the new shaft that has opened up in the mines, which is the water shaft, where I can find silver ore. I only made it to floor 5, but I did get a decent amount of ore from my trip. On my way out of the cave, I met Concerned Monkey? That guy? I'm sure this is a reference to something, but I wouldn't know. The rest of the evening was spent fishing at my pond on the farm, where I caught a shrimp and a catfish. Next morning I had another mastery point in combat, which I put into having a 5% chance of getting double loot from monsters. Ling was waiting for me outside and told me to follow her to the lab. Turns out she already finished a new suit for me. That was incredibly fast. With the improved diving suit, I can now understand and speak with the merfolk. I of course thanked her and then headed back to the farm. I harvested my crops, let my animals outside, and was surprised to see a big egg inside the coop. I have some incredibly happy chickens. I need both a small and a large egg for the temple offerings. I went to the altars right away and donated the 2 eggs and also the catfish. I put in my bug net for a bronze upgrade at the beach shack, then spent the rest of my morning cleaning up the ocean, where I found 3 more beacons to activate. After I was out of stamina, I ran around town to look for more forageables. By the end of the day, I reached level 4 in diving, which unlocked the dehydrator, a very important artisan machine. Day number 20, I cleaned up my farm a bit more, went down in the water shaft where I made it to floor 10, looked for some sea salt while diving since I need that for a dehydrator. Luckily, I did manage to find some. Back at the farm, I crafted said dehydrator, where I can put in any ocean forageables and let them dry for a few hours and sell them for more money. Right now, ocean loot doesn't really sell for a whole lot, but that'll change once we unlock more areas. I wanted to purchase myself another bag upgrade over at Sam's, but unfortunately I had too little money for that. Next day I had my first mastery point in ranching, which I used to unlock quality product to have a higher chance of receiving better quality items from my animals. I crafted my first mayo machine, then met with Mayor Connor and the other townies next to the ranch to start today's festivities, which is the tree planting festival. This event is being held at a nearby island, the Purville Woods, which was destroyed by illegal logging. I chatted with everyone around to get some free friendship points, bought some cheap tree saplings at the festival store. I can turn these into candied tree seeds, which are basically my main supply of stamina regen. This event has 3 stages. First, we clean up a small section of the island, then till the soil, and lastly, plant some tree saplings. I've never played until year 2, so I'm curious to see how it's gonna look here next year. The following day, I opened some coffers and geodes at the blacksmith, donated everything new to the museum, where I got a dragon fruit seedling as a reward. I gave Ben a birthday present, bought the second bag upgrade, picked up my new bug net at the beach shack, then spent a good amount of my time diving in the ocean. I stayed a bit longer this time since some critters will only show up during nighttime. I found a tiger tail seahorse, a very funky looking arrow crab, and a yeti crab. Day 23, I got a free mayo machine from the Farmers Guild. Thank you very much. Donated the new critters I found yesterday, then spent a few in-game hours in the mineshaft, where I made it to floor 20 and found my second ring. Back at the farm, I crafted a mason jar, which I can use to preserve fruits and vegetables. I did some fishing at the ocean, donated 1 mayo and dried ocean loot to the basic artisan bundle, and then more fishing by the lake. I got a letter from Scott the following day, who told me that the Kickstarter campaign is officially closed now. Very excited to see the new museum. I spent the morning diving, which reminded me that I should really upgrade my scythe again. Midday I stopped by the blacksmith to upgrade my pickaxe. Yes, I know I just said I should upgrade the scythe, but I thought the pick was a bit more important right now. And then went back into the ocean. I freed a very sad looking fish named Mola. You okay there, buddy?
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would...
Found more critters, like the skunk cleaner shrimp and a hermit crab, and later I crafted a few stone chests, since these can store twice as much loot as the regular makeshift chests. Day 25, I crafted a compost bin, which I should have done a while ago, since this is used for fertilizer. I fished at the dock for 2 pink snappers, 1 for the museum and 1 for the temple. Later I fished in the caves for the first time, where I caught a flower horn and a koi. The fishing minigame is kinda growing on me, so I decided to upgrade my fishing pole at the beach shack. I didn't really know what else to do, so I went yet again diving. I was mainly just here for silver kelp and ocean loot that I can dry, since picking up forageables doesn't consume any stamina thankfully. After going to bed, I reached level 5 in diving and made a decent amount of money that day. Today I picked up my steel pickaxe, put in my scythe for an upgrade, tested out my new pick in the mines, where I made it to floor 30. Later in the evening, I was looking for new night critters, but I didn't find anything new. I reached level 4 in farming, which gave me access to better scarecrows, which have wider range than the basic ones. Next morning I had another mastery point in farming, which I used to unlock a chance of harvesting better quality crops. I crafted 2 ordinary scarecrows, and yep, they really do have a much bigger radius than the other ones. I spent the morning looking for ocean critters and loot while diving, and on my way back to the farm, I stopped by the beach shack where I got my new copper fishing pole, and also bought some bait while I was there. Next on my farm, I saw a very interesting butterfly, which I haven't been able to catch. This one will almost fly away immediately once I'm too close, so I had to be smart about it. I waited a little bit, then ran around the river, and thankfully just had enough time to catch a spicebush swallowtail butterfly. I tried out the improved fishing pole at the pond and also learned that I can fish in the rice fields right behind my property. Don't know if this is intentional, but it looks hilarious. I saw a waku sitting next to a seagull while fishing at the beach, and then tried really hard to catch the spider. I even made some ground insect sand to lower its awareness, but it wasn't happening. Skill issue. I've caught a whole bunch of new fish that day, which I of course donated to the museum, and now we're almost at 100 donations. I really wonder when the museum is finally gonna get upgraded. It is the last day of spring. I picked up my final sugarcane harvest, crafted more sprinklers, and finally made a proper layout, also for the 2 fruit trees that I can plant in summer. After I was happy with everything, I visited the carpenter, where I commissioned a barn, which I put right next to the coop. I wanted to pick up my scythe, but the blacksmith is closed on Sundays. I mean, the building is actually open, but they're just not working, so that's cool. I didn't know what else to do, so I went into the mines, where I reached the bottom of the water shaft. Down there was another weird tablet, and the chieftain showed up again. At the entrance, I got acquainted with Gong, the water giant. With that, I now have access to the wind shaft, where I can find gold ore. Back at the farm, I decided to expand the crop field a bit more, then cleaned up the area until I ran out of stamina. I went to bed early and reached level 5 in foraging. First day of summer, I accepted an errand for Randy, who wants me to fish up 4 lobster for a seafood dish he's making. Found new flowers and critters while running around town, picked up my new scythe from the blacksmith so that I can clear out the dead crops from my field, bought new summer seeds from the general store, like sunflowers, tomatoes, pepper, corn, blueberries, and a whole lot of other stuff. I planted everything back at home, as well as the dragon fruit and banana tree. After that, I looked for more new critters around the forest area, and in the evening fished at the docks to try and catch those lobsters for Randy, and actually managed to get all 4 just before bed. Next day, I saw that the barn construction were done. I finished the coop animal offering, which unlocked a Romeo machine, and with that also unlocked the final altar, which is for rare goods. I don't have any of these items at the moment, so that will be something for a bit later. I gave Randy the lobsters, opened a few geodes and coffers at the blacksmith, which gave me new items to donate to the museum, and then went diving for the rest of the day. While I was down there, I finally learned that you could actually hold down the mouse button to charge up your scythe, which increases the radius to clear trash. Wish I knew that sooner. I freed another ocean animal, this time a seal, and despite having the new suit, I unfortunately couldn't understand what he was saying. As a thanks, he gave me some wakame, appreciated buddy. I cleared out this entire area, and by the end of the day, leveled up my catching skill. Day 31, I had Scott outside waiting for me, who told me that the opening ceremony for the museum is today. I of course immediately headed over, where everyone was already waiting for us. At the very center is the new Founders Hall, which represents the backers for the museum and actually the real supporters of the Coral Island Kickstarter campaign. If there's someone watching who's in the museum, then let me know in the comments down below. Scott thanked me for helping him and handed me a soft bristled brush. With that, I can now find fossils. Very excited about that. I gotta be honest with you, this is probably one of the best museum designs I've ever seen in a game. Granted, I only know the museums from Stardew and Animal Crossing, but still, it's absolutely massive. Still a bit empty here and there, but we're working on it. I did my morning routine, found yet more flowers and critters, and admired the new summer outfits that the townies are wearing. Every NPC has seasonal outfits. The devil is in the detail after all. I went diving again, where I found my first fossil node, activated more beacons, and we are so close to the Merfolk Kingdom now. Back at the farm, I crafted another dehydrator, and then looked for new night critters like this very pretty mauve stinger jellyfish. The following day, I wanted to enchant my tools over the giant's village, but I had too little gems for that. Waited for the ranch to open up, where I purchased 2 cows, Misha and Bob, and also a milk pail from the shop. All of that was very expensive, by the way. I had almost nothing left, but it will be well worth it. Look how cute they are. After that, I explored the wind shaft a little bit, and can someone please tell me what I'm supposed to do with these essences? I have so many of them, but I have no idea if they're actually used for something. Later I did a bit of fishing in the forest, where I caught a firefish. I catched more bugs, saw Scott in his bathing suit by the beach, just, thought I'd mention it. Tried really hard to catch this butterfly, and failed of course. After going to bed, I reached level 6 in mining. I unlocked Rock Domino the next morning, which has a chance for surrounding rocks to break while mining. Collected my first milk from the cows. I gave Mayor Connor a birthday present, who has a very impressive house by the way, super cozy. Speaking about cozy, I donated more artifacts to the museum, which earned me a new bed, table and chair. I displayed everything in my house, and yeah, I guess it looks a bit better in here now. I enchanted my pickaxe, which gave me the swift swing ability, which increases my tool speed, and went yet again diving. There's only 2 beacons left that I need to find, and after clearing up a bit, I found both of them and finally stood before the Merfolk Kingdom. This place is so incredibly pretty. Inside, I got stopped by Samaru and Dano, the royal guards, who weren't that happy to see me. Denali interrupted our conversation. We met her and Argung a while back. She explained to the guards that I can understand and speak with them. Inside the Naga Palace, I got introduced to King Krakatoa. And Queen Nanda Devi, who were also not really happy about my visit. Now well, can't impress everyone. So to explain the plot quickly, land dwellers like me are not really allowed to be in the Merfolk Kingdom. They don't want us here because we polluted the ocean, like the oil spill and trash we literally see everywhere. So yeah, can't really blame them. Cho Ui, the Oracle of the Merfolk Kingdom, says that I am however chosen by the ocean and I need to help them heal the coral tree. What does the coral tree do? I have no idea. Still, the queen and the king thought it was too unsafe to have me here in the kingdom and wanted to kick me out, but luckily the princess came along and vouched for me. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, I am sorry. The princess told her parents that I have a right to be here since I apparently have the blessing of the goddess. So after a bit of back and forth, I was allowed to stay and I can even sleep in the barracks if I want to. I have a new fast travel point unlocked now and access to the deep sea, which is this purple area on the map. I chatted with Samaru, who asked me why I'm so desperate to be down here, the plot, obviously. As I made my way over to the new area, I got stopped by the princess again and her adorable sea dragon, who gave me a free stamina fruit. Before going any further, I noticed this little shop where I can buy underwater animals in the future. Super excited about this, since this is part of the new stuff from the recent update. I began clearing out the new area, where we can find gold kelp, cod, a sexy shrimp. Am I even allowed to say that on YouTube? After I was out of energy once again, I emerged and headed to bed. As I was harvesting my flowers and wheat the next day, I learned that I can harvest with the scythe. Again, something I wish I knew a bit sooner. The first half of my day I went diving, looking for kelp and ocean forageables. Later I fished by the docks, and in the evening I got a cutscene with Mark, who found a stray puppy. He took the puppy back home to give her a bath and some food. Aww. Day 35, I harvested my first radish, offered a few items to the altars to free up chest space. I saw Gong dancing with Archie and Taco at the town square. So kids and animals apparently can see giants. That's interesting. I visited the lab where I processed the fossil notes that I found while diving, upgraded my bug net at the beach shack, and after that I went into the mines where I found a good chunk of gold ore. I tried to find more silky fur for the monster loot altar, but I had no luck with that. I tried out explosives for the first time and made it to floor 10. Bought some melon seeds at the store, which I planted back home, and then fished at the lake for the remaining day. Next morning I went to the lab again, where I upgraded my seed quality to bronze. I gave Sam a birthday bouquet and then went diving, where I cleared out the first area of the deep sea. Which continued on day 37. I spent the whole day diving and looking for new ocean loot. I visited the Giants village the following morning, where I had a chat with Gong. He wants me to help him retrieve some items so he can disguise himself as a human, because he really wants to talk with the townies. For that he gave me a shopping list, but I have none of these things at the moment. I'll work on that a bit later. For now I headed over to the blacksmith, where I put in my hoe for a bronze upgrade, opened some coffers while I was there. I picked up my new and improved bug net, which has a way higher catching radius now, and then explored the wind shaft, where I made it down to floor 15. Later I opened more fossil notes at the lab, which I donated to the museum. I wanted to check out the dino area, since I haven't shown that, but it wasn't open yet. Day 39, I saw that my fruit trees were fully grown and picked my first bananas and dragon fruit. I gave Walter a hibiscus, which he asked for earlier, picked up my bronze hoe, and then spent pretty much the whole day fishing at the forest river, town river, and lake. I was trying to catch a koi for the temple offering, but I didn't have any luck with that. On day 40, I crafted my first cheese press. Put in another mastery point in ranching for a chance to get double products. As I wanted to collect my eggs, I saw that Kiwi was sick. I had no idea that animals can get sick. I also didn't know at that point that you can buy medicine at the ranch, but I'll figure it out soon, don't worry. I ran around to collect as many coconuts as I can find, since they sell for a nice amount of money, and then it was time for the animal festival. I was super excited about this one because you can only participate in the minigames if you own animals yourself, which I didn't have the last time I played. There's the rodeo, the cow competition, where I participated with Misha. I didn't win anything though. The chicken competition, where I also didn't win anything. And also a pet race, but I don't own a pet at the moment, so that's something for next year. On 41, I got a letter from Jack, who thank God sent me some medicine for Kiwi, which I of course immediately gave to him. All better now. I harvested my first corn and melons, gave both Emma and Eva a birthday bouquet, bought more melon seeds at the store, then went into the mines. On floor 20, I found a forager ring in a treasure chest, which I swapped out with the amber shield ring, since that one is pretty useless to me. And a bit later, I made it to floor 25. Day 42, I finished the summer crops and rare resource offerings, which gave me free tomato seeds and osmium kelp essence as a reward. This pumped me up to town rank D, which unlocks new seeds, fruit trees, more books at the library, goats and quails for purchase at the ranch. For that, however, I need to upgrade my buildings first. Speaking about the ranch, I purchased myself 2 sheep that day. Say hello to Ornstein and Smo. I upgraded the hay quality for my animals, had a look at the new book section at the library, donated all the new critters I found yesterday, which earned me some snowdrop seeds for winter, and later tried again to catch a koi fish, but still no luck with that. Next morning I had another mastery point in fishing, which I took to unlock for a chance of catching double fish. I went into the mines because I read that apparently it's easier to catch a koi in here than at the lake, and after a bit of struggling I finally got one, a silver quality koi. I upgraded both my fishing rod and axe to silver, donated the koi, commissioned a silo from the carpenter, then spent a few in-game hours in the mines, where I made it all the way down to floor 40. I interacted with the curse tablet and broke the curse. The chieftain showed up again, and at the entrance I got to meet Gru, the wind giant. The only one that is missing now is the fire giant, but I have no idea where he would be. No, I'm serious, I don't know. This is where I stopped playing last time. There's also no statue left in here, so I'm very curious to see where we're gonna find him. Day 44, I finished the local produce questline for shipping 50 bronze crops and 25 bronze fruit, which earned me 1000 gold as a reward. I gave Sarah and Frank a birthday present, stopped by the White Flamingo for the first time, a clothing store owned by Antonio, to have a look at the items for Gong. He wants me to buy a royal blazer and a pair of glasses. Very expensive also. That's not gonna happen right now, buddy. I spent the remaining day diving, found more solar orbs to activate, and freed a friendly shark in the process, who gave me some fossil notes as a thanks. I decided to expand my crop field on day 45, don't know why I didn't do that earlier. I picked up my silver axe, put in my watering can for a bronze upgrade, enchanted my axe, which now has a chance to not consume energy while using it, then went spelunking into the earth shaft to look for copper ore. I also found more silky fur, finally. Back at the farm I crafted myself a kiln, which I should have done a long time ago. I offered the 5 silky fur and finished the monster loot bundle. I gave Pablo 1 tomato for a quest he posted yesterday, picked up my silver fishing net at the beach, and then went diving to look for ocean critters. As I was running around the forest the next day, I saw that I had a whole new area unlocked now. Here I can find special critters, but also collect hardwood, which is very important since I need that for quite a few crafting recipes and upgrades. I crafted some bait and then tried out my new fishing rod, which is already so much better than the bronze variant. And yeah, spent the whole day fishing at the docks and later by the ocean lookout. I woke up to an incredibly stormy weather. Apparently there's also special fish that can only spawn during a storm, but I'll figure that out a bit later. I commissioned a coop upgrade from the carpenter, picked up my bronze watering can and upgraded my hoe. I had a look at Sam's store, who has new seeds and fruit trees in stock since we reached town rank D. Unfortunately, I don't have many days left in summer, so I only bought a few rose seeds. By the end of the day, I reached level 6 in foraging, which unlocked the mushroom log recipe. Since I leveled up my foraging skill yesterday, I had another mastery point to spend, which I took to unlock Exceptional Cutter. With that, regular trees have a chance to drop hardwood. I spent a good chunk of my day in the fire shaft, where I found my first osmium ore, red slimes, and other funny looking creatures. In the evening, I cleaned up my area a bit more and then set up a small tree farm. As I was collecting my eggs the next morning, I saw that Chico was sick. I wanted to go to the ranch anyways, so don't worry little guy. Over at the ranch store, I purchased myself 2 quails, Lorian and Lothric, and of course the animal medicine. I gave Dinda a birthday present, bought the blazer and sunglasses for Gong, picked up the wool and flowers, and then handed him the items over at the giant's village. Gong jumped on Grog's back, and with the items I gave them, they transformed into some sort of a human resemblance, I guess. It is no longer Gong and Grog, from now on it's Handsome. Seems legit. We headed into town where I introduced Handsome to Mayor Connor. I thought this would be a terrible idea, but it somehow worked. While in town, I upgraded my seedling quality to bronze, opened some fossil nodes and donated the new ones to the museum, and now I was allowed to look at the dinosaur gallery. It's still a bit empty, but it looks really cool in here. I spent the remaining time diving, where I found more beacons to activate. The Empapulo area has 18 out of 22 solar orbs activated now. I don't know why I keep saying beacons. Sorry, it's solar orbs. I spent the morning of day 50 crafting more chests and organizing everything. After I was done, I went diving, where I found the last 4 solar orbs in the area. After activating the last one, I saw a dragon? A sea dragon? I freed a dragon, I guess. A very happy one. I now have access to the Lima Polo area, which is also the biggest and last one. In here I can find osmium kelp, but I'll wait with that a little bit since I want to upgrade my scythe one more time. On day 51 I finished the ocean critter offerings, which granted me a free crawler trap. On my way to chop more hardwood stumps I saw a very pretty butterfly in the area, which I of course failed to catch. Why are some of these butterflies so hard to catch? Other than failing to get new bugs, I didn't really do that much else. I picked up my silver hoe, opened a few geodes, donated the new stuff, and mostly just ran around looking for bugs. Didn't find any new ones though. Next morning I give Anne a sunflower for her birthday, who has a very cozy house. I love it. Despite Leah being incredibly rude towards me in any conversation we have, I still gave her a bouquet since it was also her birthday. Not like you deserve it. I put in my scythe for a gold upgrade, enchanted my hoe, then spent the remaining day fishing at the farm pond. I commissioned a barn upgrade on day 53, which used up almost all of my hardwood supplies. Then went into the mines to do more fishing. I learned that you can catch some special fish in each of the shafts, and by learn, I mean that I googled it of course. I caught a freshwater eel and cobia in the water shaft and a pufferfish in the wind shaft. I had to make a pit stop by the beach shack to stock up on bait again, then fished more by the forest river. I donated the new fish I've caught and then looked at the aquarium section again, which looks a lot more full now. Day 54, I got my very first osmium quality fruit. 2 actually. I'll need quite a few of these in the near future. I saw that my quails already laid some eggs. Like I said, no idea why my animals get sick all the time. Clearly they're happy. I handed Ben a cup of green tea which he requested earlier, headed over to the blacksmith to collect my beautiful golden scythe, then went diving to test it out. Honestly, I can't really tell the difference between the silver and gold one. I can charge it a bit more, but it doesn't really seem to collect more trash. Oh well. After going to bed, I reached level 6 in farming, which is very exciting, because now I can craft kegs and better sprinklers. The following day, I caught an orchid mantis on my way to collect some hardwood in the forest. Then it was time for the beach cleanup festival. As always, I participated in the various minigames, like the tug of war, where we absolutely destroyed the other team. This gave me 5 rope, which I can use to skip a level in the mines. The swimming contest was a bit harder. I do think they made this game a bit easier because last time I failed miserably, and this time I came at least in 3rd place. I chatted with everyone and also saw Grog and Gong in their disguise, enjoying some fresh coconut water. The main event of the festival is, of course, to clean up the beach. Shocking, I know. After we were done with everything, the water and the sand looked so much better. I picked up my last summer harvest on day 56, collected the daily produce of my animals, and saw that Poncho was sick. I do figure out eventually why my animals were getting sick all the time, but it's gonna be a while until then. I waited for the ranch to open up, bought the medicine, and gave it to him. I upgraded my seedling quality at the lab and then spent the whole rest of the day setting up a new sprinkler layout. The new sprinklers cover 24 tiles each, which is a massive upgrade over the 9 tile radius from the normal ones. I also moved my machines and made a little work area in front of the crop fields. I crafted more wooden chests and by the end of the day was very pleased with the end results. As I walked out of my house the next morning, I had a very strange man waiting for me. Bobby, who wanted to take a look at my farm since I'm this year's competition for the Harvest Festival. He also made fun of my crops. Like, yeah, they're withered, obviously, as they do when the season changes, my guy. It is officially fall on Coral Island, my favorite season. I prepared the field, picked up any debris that spawned overnight, planted some fertilizer, and then went into town. I saw Mayor Connor in his adorable fall outfit, very cute, bought a buttload of new seeds from Sam's, rice, grapes, barley, orchids, sweet potato, artichoke, taro root, eggplant, amaranth, cranberry, and the rest are pumpkins. Very expensive stuff, but it's gonna be worth it. Most of the seeds that I bought will yield multiple harvests, even the pumpkins, which is surprising. I thought that the grape seeds that I bought would grow in trellis, but they don't, so that's why they're off at the side with a regular sprinkler, in case you're wondering. I still had a lot of seeds left to plant, so I expanded my crop field even further, and I am already so looking forward to the very first harvest. Day 58 was spent entirely in the mines. In the morning I collected copper ore in the earth shaft, and then went deeper in the fire shaft, where I made it to floor 15. Later I reached level 8 in mining and level 6 in catching. This gave me 2 more mastery points, one for mining, which I unlocked to have a chance of finding double gems, and the other to increase my movement speed while holding a net. This is gonna make catching critters so much easier. I teleported over to the lake temple, where I finished the basic artisan offering by donating 1 tomato juice. This rewarded me with a free keg. I spent most of my day diving. First I looked for ocean loot and gold kelp in the Empapulu area, later found 3 more solar orbs to activate, talked to a very angry looking shrimp. I found a king scallop while diving, which I donated to the temple at the end of the day, and finished another offering, the ocean loot bundle. This gave me a 3rd dehydrator that I can use. Morning of day 60, I was occupied doing errands for a few townies. I handed Paul a green tea because he forgot his wife's birthday and asked me to bring him a gift for her, as you do, I guess. I gave Raphael a birthday present, Valentina a sunflower, and Eleanor also got a cup of green tea for her birthday. After that I opened a bunch of coffers and geodes at the blacksmith, donated the new items I've got, fished at the ocean forest and river, where I caught a sockeye salmon. Other than that, I didn't fish up anything new. The following day I received a letter from Connor, who informed me about the upcoming Harvest Festival. I went over to the carpenter, where I commissioned a second house upgrade and also changed the style of the house again while I was there. I got another mastery point in ranching, which I took to unlock product price, to increase the sell price of all animal products. I spotted a capybara in the local hot springs while foraging. I think it's a capybara? I visited the animal shelter after that, but I couldn't decide who I want to adopt right now. I need to think about this a bit more. I spent the evening running around town in hopes of finding new night critters and caught 2 atlas moth, which I need both for the museum and an offering. Day 62, I had my first taro root and cranberry harvest. I crafted 2 looms, gave Jim a shiitake for his birthday, then went diving, which took up most of my day. Later I stopped by the local bar to give Cha-Em a pizza, since it was also her birthday. I think it is pronounced Cha-Em, but I'm not entirely sure. The next day I headed over to the ranch, where I bought myself 2 goats, Zelda and Link. Opened a few fossil notes at the lab. I saw Handsome doing yoga together with Leah. I said hello to my goats, then went fishing. I was trying to catch one of the legendary fish, a giant sea bass, which has a chance to spawn in this spot, but I wasn't even remotely close to even reel one in. I awoke in a bigger house on day 64. With that, I now have access to cooking. It was a bit empty in here though, so I went over to the animal shelter again, and after much debate, I decided to adopt Fizz. Look at this cute little man. I do have to say, I'm a bit sad that there's no birds to adopt in here. We're literally on a tropical island, but maybe they'll add some in a future update. I decided to keep the name Fizz, I kinda like it, and he'll be at my farm tomorrow morning. I also bought him a comfy bed, so that he has a place to relax while inside the house. I spent a few in-game hours looking for yet again more copper ore, and with that crafted myself a bee house and a mushroom log. I had Paul and Anne at my front door the next morning, who delivered Fizz. I don't know why they're doing this. I thought Mark worked at the animal shelter, but okay. Thanks guys, appreciate it. Now the house doesn't feel so empty anymore. Who's a good boy? Yes, you are, Fizz. I upgraded my seed quality to silver at the lab, I played a round of volleyball with Jaem and then went diving. While down there, I found 3 more solar orbs to activate. I know that the diving is a bit repetitive, but I promise we're soon done with all of the areas. Day 66, I had a massive harvest that I took care of. I wanted to replant more seeds, but unfortunately Sam is closed today. I found out that I can make my own sake and beer by putting in rice and barley into the kegs. I put in my pickaxe for a gold upgrade and opened the coffers I've collected yesterday. Back at the farm, I crafted more wooden chests, since I need more space for all of the new crops. I ran around town to look for forageables and bugs, and in the evening cleaned up the farm a bit more. The following morning, I gave Tio an osmium quality octopus for his birthday. I love how I'm just holding it in my hand, by the way. I bought 24 basil, bok choy and blue dahlia seeds from a general store, which I planted right away. Then fished at the ocean lookout, where I caught a tuna. On day 68, I said good morning to Fizz, collected my golden pickaxe, bought the last backpack upgrade, which grants me 4 inventory slots, should have probably bought that sooner, then spent the whole day diving, and after going to bed, I managed to get to town rank C. This once again unlocks a whole bunch of new stuff, but most importantly, pigs and peafowls. Yep, there's peafowls in this game. And on funny number day, I did the exact same thing as yesterday, diving. This time I was mainly looking for kelp and ocean forageables to sell. Next morning, I had my very first pumpkin harvest. The pumpkin was the last crop that I was missing for the fall bundle, so I headed over to the temple and offered it. Right after that, I had a cutscene where I saw the goddess of the lake. Through my various offerings, she regained enough strength to appear in person before me, and as a thanks, she gave me a stamina fruit. The lake temple also looks a lot cleaner now. I was running around, catching bugs, and stumbled upon Ben's caravan shop, where he sells a whole bunch of random items, but they're very expensive. I don't know why you would ever buy anything here. Sorry, Ben. In the evening, I fished at the mineshaft entrance in hopes of finally getting some new fish, and I did manage to catch an archer, so that's better than nothing, I guess. By the end of the day, I was very pleased to see all of the money from the big pumpkin harvest. Day 71 was a very exciting day. It was the annual Harvest Festival. Similar to the Stardew Valley Fair, there is a range display. There are 6 categories for items you can showcase: vegetables, fruits, flowers, coop, barn, and artisan products. The more variety you have, the more points you get. But the most important thing is actually the sell price of your goods. I was looking through all of my different chests and picked out an osmium quality pumpkin, melon, orchid, a large quail egg, gold quality wool, and for the artisan category, I thought that beer would be a good choice. I went over to the festival ground, but it doesn't start until way later, so back to the farm I went. I stopped by the ranch where I bought 2 pigs named Mario and Luigi. I upgraded my fishing pole to gold at the beach shack, and after 7, it was time for the festival. As always, the decorations are incredible. I had a go at the pumpkin smashing minigame where I at least got in 3rd place. Had a look at the festival store where I bought 1 pear and 1 cocoa seedling, since they can also grow during winter. Absolutely destroyed everyone in the apple bobbing game, and for winning this one you get 1 apple sapling, which is gonna be nice for next fall. I chatted with everyone, proudly displayed my items, and then started the main event. Judging the Garage display is Jeff Smith, who is the guy that sent me my very first sprinkler in the mail. There's only 2 people competing here, Bobby, who represents Beluga Bay, and of course myself for Starlit Town. I didn't expect too much, but after seeing Bobby's display, I felt pretty confident, and to my surprise, I actually won. By a mile. Suck it, Bobby. I was not expecting to win this at all. The last time I played, I failed miserably. Like, I wasn't even remotely close. So I don't know if the developers made the competition a bit easier, or if my display was just really that bad. Either way, I cherished the moment. I got a sprinkler and 2 mooncakes as a reward. Not the most exciting items, but I saw that you can even get a stamina fruit for a rating over 160. Already looking forward to next year. I had Luke at my doorstep on day 72, who was looking for his dog, Taco, and asked if I maybe saw him somewhere. I did not, and told him that he's probably just on another adventure. I got a very interesting letter telling me to go to the beach tomorrow evening, which I definitely didn't immediately forget about. I harvested my basil, planted the 2 seedlings I bought yesterday, upgraded my watering can to silver, opened a few coffers while I was there, donated the new artifacts and critters, which earned me yet another stamina fruit as a donation reward. Down at the beach, I stumbled upon none other than Taco. Luke was very happy to see him and told me to stop by the vineyard more often. Then went mining into the fire shaft, where on floor 20 I found a new sword in a chest, which I'll be using instead of the hammer, and called it a day when I reached floor 25. Day 73 was very uneventful. In the morning I looked for copper ore in the earth shaft, and later chopped a whole bunch of trees on my farm and replanted them. That's about it. Next day I visited the general store where I checked out the new seeds. I bought a stack of fairy rose seeds, which I don't know why I did that, because they cannot grow anymore this season, so that was a waste of money. At the lab I upgraded my hay quality to silver and opened a few fossil nodes. I visited the community center after, where I looked at all of the new books, and I read about Sonny, who caught a giant stingray a while ago. Very curious if I can also catch one of these. I learned a new crafting recipe, which was the slime of replication. Allegedly, it can duplicate any item, so that sounds interesting for sure. The reason why I was here was to have a look at the merit point shop, and I had enough points now to buy a stamina fruit. Can never have too much stamina. The following day, I purchased a cup of coffee for Randy since it was his birthday. I even got an achievement for that. While browsing through my inventory, I saw that I had another mastery point in fishing. With this I unlocked strong arms, which is gonna make fishing a bit more easier from now on. Speaking about fishing, I then picked up my shiny new golden fishing pole. I bought a lemon seedling and almond sapling from the general store, then remembered that I haven't collected my silver watering can, so I picked that one up as well. I planted the seedlings and was very obviously confused about the almond sapling. This is when I finally learned the difference between seedlings and saplings. Seedlings take less time to grow, but they need to be watered every day, and the saplings function the same way as fruit trees in Stardew Valley. And they also need 8 free tiles around them to be able to grow. Why? Never understood that. I enchanted my watering can, which got a 10% chance of not draining energy nor water. Morning on day 76, I crafted 2 tappers for the tree farm, which I should have done a lot sooner. I handed Bree a pumpkin, which she requested a while ago, then spent almost the entire day in the fire shaft. I found a blessed opal ring on floor 30, which I swapped out with the forager's ring, since this one increases the chance of finding rare items, and that sounds pretty good to me. And at last, I made it all the way down to floor 40. Of course the chieftain showed up again, and we both looked at the cursed tablet. Behind it was another giant trapped in stone. I touched the tablet and broke the spell, and freed Geo, the fire giant. At the entrance waited the other giants for us, who were not that happy about seeing Geo. The chieftain said that we will talk about everything back in the giants' village. I still had a bit of time left, and I was very curious to see if I can catch any new fish at the lowest level, so I grabbed my fishing rod and went down again. But other than sardines and mackerels, I didn't catch anything else. After going to bed, I reached level 8 in farming and level 9 in mining. With level 8 in farming comes yet another mastery point, which I took to unlock crop price, so that I can get even more money from selling my harvest. I got a letter from Jeff Smith, who told me that I am now an advanced farmer and gifted me an aging barrel. Very excited to try this out. I headed over to the village, where Geo explained that Gord was the one who turned the other giants into stone, but everyone else thought that it was Geo. That's why they weren't so thrilled to see him yesterday. The next step is to find Gord, and he is in a place called the Savannah. I have no idea where that is, but I told them I'll figure it out eventually. After that I headed over to the lab and already saw decorations around town for the upcoming festival. Very cozy. I opened the few fossil notes that I had, donated the new ones to the museum, went foraging, and while doing that, I noticed that the area behind the hot springs wasn't blocked off anymore. There was capybaras running around, a very cute looking panda, and behind him is, I think, the savannah area, but I honestly don't know. While I was sorting my inventory later, I heard a few very concerning sounds. Day 78, I received a letter from none other than Bobby, who was basically just being a sore loser. My guy, the festival was a week ago, get over it. I made my way over to the local ranch where I bought 2 peafowls, Peach and Daisy. Very expensive creatures, by the way, 20,000 for one each. Yikes. But it's gonna be worth it. They produce peafowl feathers every 4 days, which I'll need for an offering. I put in my axe for a gold upgrade and then went diving where I caught a leafy sea dragon, which looks absolutely adorable. Next morning I had the chieftain at my front door. He thanked me for freeing the giants and handed me an architect table. I've read about this item before. Basically, I can move any building instantly, even trees, but I also have to pay for the moving process. As always, I collected my animal produce and finally got a large goat milk. With that, I finished the barn animal offering and got another cheese press as a reward. I visited the lab, where I purchased the blueprint for an auto feeder. You get 1 machine upon purchasing the recipe, and then you can craft more for less ingredients, which is pretty nice. This is gonna make ranching during winter a lot more comfortable. And before I forget, I also bought 2 temperature machines from the ranch. I learned that day that the temperature machine also works during summer, so that's probably why my animals were sick all the time. I'm sorry guys, I didn't know about this. After that I went diving, where I found the last 2 solar orbs. Now all 4 areas are fully restored and the coral tree is healed, which is right next to the Merfolk Kingdom. I don't know if I mentioned that before. I visited Cho'ui in her chambers, where she told me about the underwater caves. In short, every area has 1 cave. These are repeatable dungeons that I can use to gather trash and coffers. The next morning I got a letter from the king and the queen, where they asked me to come and visit them at the Naga Palace. I would love to know how they write letters down there. I of course headed straight to the Merfolk Kingdom, where everyone was already waiting for me. The king thanked me for healing the coral tree and gave me the seal of Naga, which is a symbol of trust and friendship. Unfortunately, the roots above, near the beach, are still there, so the king ordered me to take the golden conch and summon the spirit of the tree. I'll have to wait with that until nighttime though. For now, I had a look around the kingdom, where I met Ricey, one of the new characters. She owns a tattoo shop, and I'm very curious to see if we can also get tattoos. I thought with the Seal of Naga I was allowed to enter all of the stores at the Merfolk Kingdom, but it still said I wasn't allowed to enter, so that's a bit weird. Since it was raining, I thought I'd try my luck again to see if I can catch any new fish, and I did catch a giant mud skipper in the lava pool. Whatever suits you, buddy. Later, after the sun went down, I went back to the kingdom, where I summoned the spirit of the coral tree, which is a giant stingray. The spirit flew above to the surface and restored our beach. And the following day, everyone gathered at the beach to marvel at the clean ocean. Good job, Mia. I visited the lab again, where I bought the recipe for an auto peddler. Picked up my gold axe, finally realized that there's a process alt tab, so I don't have to press every single coffer and geode manually. Better late than never. I gave Dippa a moral and Surya a melon, since it was both their birthdays. I changed the design of my barn and coop over at the carpenter. I love that you can do that. I picked up a white truffle, which I need for another offering, and tested out my new axe by removing those big logs on my farm. I harvested my first cocoa and pears on day 82. I admired my newly painted farm buildings, gifted Sonny a cranberry for his birthday, because I didn't have anything else that he likes. I upgraded my bucknet while I was there, visited the Merfolk Kingdom again to see if I can maybe now visit the shops, but nope, still wasn't allowed to enter. At least back in town I was allowed to shop, and I felt like treating myself today. I had a look at all of the new outfits over at the White Flamingo. There are so many nice pieces here, but I still wanted to look like a farmer. And after about 10 minutes, I settled on some high-waist pants, new shoes, and this cute long-sleeve shirt. Moving on to day 83, I went straight again to the Merfolk Kingdom, where I had a very interesting conversation with Cho'ui. She found a new scroll on her journeys that can turn me into a merfolk. I told her that I was of course interested in that, but I needed to bring her a few ingredients. So I headed back to the farm, where I collected 5 osmium kelp essence and 5 of my precious osmium quality crops. I brought everything over to her, then we had to pick up sap from the coral tree nearby. Seems a bit unorthodox, but okay. A bit of magic here and there, And finally, I have a tail on my own. I love this feature so much. I even get to choose which tail I want. Now, this is of course only for underwater shenanigans. I still have my legs on land, so don't worry. This is gonna make diving in the ocean so much better. Look how fast I am now. Before enjoying my new mermaid form, I had other plans to take care of. I went back into town, where I wanted to head to the store, but got a cutscene with Karen, who announced that she wants to run for mayor. Just when I forgot about you guys. Anyways, I was here to visit Socket and Pan, the local furniture store, where I purchased a blender, skillet, pot, and seasoning set, which I'll need for cooking. I bought one grilled fish from the beach shack, then went back home to make a few dishes. That includes one sunny side up egg, a smoothie, tomato soup, and onigiri. With that, I had everything to finish the basic cooking offering. Then I just kinda chilled on the farm for the rest of the day. Today I picked up the final harvest of this season, crafted a second otter pattern for the barn, picked up my new bug net, crafted 2 crawler traps which I placed at the Lima Pulu entrance area. Unfortunately, I had to purchase another tail because, as you can see, my game is dropping frames left and right. It really cannot handle the particles from the tail, so I swapped it out with this nice gold one. I also purchased a fitting top from the store outside, and we are looking so cute. Later in the evening I went into town because today is the Spooky Festival. And spooky is honestly an understatement. There are some truly terrifying props here. I played the ring toss minigame where I won first prize, definitely on my first attempt, bonked a few skulls, found all the items for the scavenger hunt, which rewarded me with a pink diamond, one of the rarest items in the games. The main event here is the Ugu Parade. Again, sorry if I'm mispronouncing stuff. Fun fact, the Ugu Parade is an actual yearly event in Bali, Indonesia, where the people craft giant paper sculptures, known as the Ugu, to ward off evil spirits before the Balinese New Year's. It is the first day of winter. I collected my lemons, made sure that my animals had it nice and cozy inside, don't want anyone getting sick again, then headed into town where I had a look at the new winter seeds. Since I'm currently only at town rank C, there isn't a whole lot of stuff that I can buy during winter, only snowdrop, tea, and cotton seeds. I also purchased an avocado and snake fruit seedling. I planted the seeds, without fertilizer for some reason, and of course the 2 seedlings. After I planted everything, I headed out to look for forageables and potential new critters. I caught a birdwing butterfly, and a bit later in the evening, a centipede. Next morning, I accepted an errand for Walter, saw probably the best looking snowman ever on my way to the beach. I gifted Raj 1 coffee for his birthday, then found a new fishing spot while running around. Despite being here the entire day, I unfortunately didn't catch anything new. There's actually a few fish that I can catch right at this spot, but for that it needs to be either raining or snowing. I'll figure that out eventually. On day 87, I made my way over to the local blacksmith, where I saw Karen. Remember when I briefly mentioned that she wants to run for mayor? Yep, that's what she's doing here. I respect the hustle, but honestly, you're just wasting your time here. Also, just have to mention quickly, how cute is Raphael's winter outfit? Look at this adorable teddy bear. Anyways, I was here to commission a gold hoe upgrade and to open a few coffers. While in town, I stopped by the lab where I upgraded my seedling quality once again. Had a look at the farm computer recipe. I heard that this is apparently really nice to have, so I'll be saving up for this one. I donated the new artifacts to the museum, where I got a beach gazebo as a reward. No idea where to put this, so I'll store it inside a chest for now. I'll be focusing on decorating later. Today I had a bit more luck with fishing. I caught 2 silver arowana down in the earth shaft, an Asian sheephead and a mandarin at the ocean forest. I was hoping to get 2 Asian sheephead for both the museum and an offering, but I think they only spawn in the evening. Before going to bed, I teleported to the lake temple, where I finished the freshwater fishing bundle by donating the silver arowana. The next morning I moved both the barn and the coop to make a bit more space in between because I want to redesign a few of my machines. While I was doing that, I saw that I had even better sprinklers unlocked now, covering a total of 81 tiles. That's a lot of tiles. I know that I want to build another barn and coop at some point, but for now I want to have a proper area for the few artisan machines that I have. I placed a fence around the two buildings and it looks so much better now. I went into town where I visited the local clinic for the first time. I saw Sonny, who was having his yearly routine check with Dr. Charles. Why am I allowed to just walk in here, by the way? I was here to hand Charles some cookies for his birthday. Leah was also at the clinic, and she may or may not have the best winter outfit. It doesn't look any comfortable, nor warm actually, but it sure does look cute. As I was running around looking for forageables, I saw this giant rock next to Anne and Paul's house, which I was able to mine actually. Up the hill was nothing though, so not exactly sure what I'm supposed to do up here. I made my way over to the Merfolk Kingdom because I've gotten a letter earlier this day from the Queen and King where they requested an audience with me. But upon arriving at the Naga Palace, I got greeted by the princess instead. Turns out that she was the one who wrote the letter and not her parents. Long story short, the princess wants to explore Starlit Town. I mean, I don't know why you're asking me about this. Her parents showed up shortly after and they weren't exactly thrilled about the idea, but as long as one royal guard accompanies her, she's allowed to visit the town. Of course, for that, the princess will have to grow a pair of legs herself, and that's where I come in. She handed me quite the extensive shopping list, most noticeable 75 osmium quality crops. Yeah, I'll come back to this quest a bit later. While I was at the Merfolk Kingdom, I saw that I was finally allowed to enter the shops. I met Janu, a half-shark man, I guess, who's the owner of the Sleepy Eel Bar. I saw that there's an own calendar for the Merfolk people, and I really wish I knew this sooner. See, in the 1.0 version of the game, the calendar with the people from Starlit Town and the Merfolk was merged together. So, I didn't know about that. I met Lanin, who owns the boutique where I bought my underwater top, who complimented me on my fins. Thank you very much, good lady. Lawu, the owner of the Merfolk General Store. Here I can purchase underwater crops. Or at least that's what I thought. I think that underwater farming is something that I unlock a bit later, but honestly, I don't know, it's just a guess. In case you're wondering why I haven't spent much time down here. Day 89 was spent entirely diving in the ocean, looking for kelp, forageables, and new critters. I also found out that one of Semiro's love gifts is barley beer. And by found out, I mean that I googled it, of course. I caught a pink meanie jellyfish, split-colored lobster, and a harlequin shrimp. Now we're only missing 4 ocean critters to finish the collection. It could have been 3, because I tried really hard to catch this blue lobster, but there was absolutely no chance. He would run away as soon as I came close. I maxed out my first level, which is in diving, and after going to bed, I saw a baby steal one of my eggs. You heard that correct, a baby. Moving on to the next day, where I unlocked Artifact Price, which increases the sell price of all artifacts. I picked up my upgraded hoe from the blacksmith and wanted to commission a gold watering can, but needed resin instead of hardwood, so I rushed back home, picked up the 3 resin, and put in the watering can for an upgrade. After donating more items, I had a look around the building again. The artifact and mineral section is coming along nicely, as well as the insect gallery and especially the aquarium. The dino section, on the other hand, still looks a bit weird. I didn't do that much else today. I chilled around the farm for quite some time, and in the evening I finally catched a rove beetle, which I offered to the lake temple along with the centipede, thus completing the night insect bundle. On day 91 it was snowing outside, so I decided to try my luck with fishing again. As mentioned before, some fish only show up during bad weather. I fished at the river next to the cave where I caught 3 arapaima. 1 for the museum, 1 for an offering, and 1 for a quest. In the evening I fished by the docks, in hopes of catching a yellowfin tuna, but I think I was already too late, since I didn't get anything. At least I leveled up my fishing skill again. Next morning, I headed over to the lab, where I purchased the recipe for an auto-collector. I know I said I wanted to save for the computer, but I thought this would be more useful right now. I also upgraded my sapling quality to silver, and then handed out a few birthday gifts. I placed the auto-collector in the barn, and then spent the remaining day in the Limapuru cave to look for coffers and fossil notes, which continued on day 93. The following morning I collected my first cotton harvest, which I can use at the loom to produce cotton cloth. I replanted the leftover seeds, cooked an egg for Noah since this is a loved item for him, then took all of the coffers and geodes that I've gathered over the past 2 days and visited the blacksmith. I picked up my new watering can and upgraded my scythe to osmium quality. Opened the coffers as well as the fossil nodes and then donated all of the new items I've got. I was hoping that this would be enough for town rank B, but not quite. So close. I spent a few in-game hours down in the fire shaft to look for osmium ore, but also for coal and geodes. My fruit seedlings were ready on day 95, where I picked my first lychee and snake fruit. Saw that the cotton cloth sells for a really good amount of money, so I might craft a few more looms down the line. I wanted to hand Ben a black trumpet mushroom, which he requested ages ago, but apparently gifting while in the hot springs isn't possible. At least I got to see some cute monkeys. I donated yet again more items that I've gotten from opening geodes and fossil nodes. I'm sorry if this is a bit repetitive, but I was really trying to push for a higher town rank, but still wasn't enough. I purchased an orange and durian sapling at the general store for next spring, then spent the evening in the mines again and finally found enough slime to craft the slime of replication, where I put in that one pink diamond that I've gotten from the spooky festival. Morning on day 96, I was occupied with doing errands around town. I gave Millie 1 osmium kelp essence, Walter a tea leaf, and lastly delivered 2 flowers to the local bar. After that, I redesigned my silo at the carpenter. I don't know why I did that, since I never even see the silo, but it looks a bit cuter now, kinda like a lighthouse. I also commissioned my first shed while I was there, which I placed next to the crop fields. Back at the farm, I crafted 2 mason jars and kegs. That's also why I built the shed, since I don't want to have all of the artisan machines outside. Then kinda just stood on the farm for a little while. Later in the evening, I wanted to try again to catch that blue lobster, but luckily my traps already caught one. I really have to use traps more often. I finished the winter crops bundle on day 97 by donating a bronze tea leaf and snowdrop, with that completing my very first altar, which unlocks the greenhouse. Also, this finally bumped me up to town rank B. Now I have access to llamas and luwaks at the local ranch. Very excited to see those animals. Since it was snowing again, I decided to dedicate the whole day towards fishing. First, I went to the ocean lookout, where I managed to catch a hammerhead. I wasn't even trying for that one, but I'll take it. I went over to the beach shack to stock up on bait again, gave Betty some homemade green tea for her birthday, then fished at the docks where I caught a yellowtail, flameback, and swordfish. All good and dandy, but not what I was looking for. I switched up the location and went down to the pier, where after a little while I finally caught a yellowfin tuna. I tried to get a second one, since I need 2 for the museum and an offering, but I wasn't that lucky. I did, however, get a sawfish by the estuary fishing spot. That's 2 legendary fish in one day. After going to bed, I saw my greenhouse getting fixed up over the night, which I of course immediately had a look at the following day. I'm not entirely sure what I want to plant in here, so it will stay empty for a little while. I got a second pink diamond from a slime of replication, which I donated to the museum, along with the fish I've caught yesterday. And completely forgot that I wanted to offer the yellowfin tuna to the temple. Oh well. I had a look at the new animals over at the ranch store, but before buying any, I need to make more space on my farm. So I went to the carpenter, where I commissioned a second barn. I wanted to pick up my scythe, but as always, I forgot they're closed on Sundays. Instead, I picked up all of the osmium kelp essence and crops I've been hoarding so far and brought them over to Jo-Ui. With the materials, she brewed another potion so that Denali, Samaru, and the princess can grow a pair of legs and explore Starlet Town. Later, I started to move some of my artisan machines inside the newly finished shed building. Day 99 wasn't all too eventful. First, I upgraded my seed quality to gold, picked up my scythe, which has a 3rd enchantment slot now, visited the general store to see if Sam had any new seeds in stock. He didn't. Then spent the whole day around the Lima Pulu area to find osmium kelp and ocean forageables. On day 100, I gifted Emily a blue dahlia for her birthday, waited for the carpenter to open up and commission a barn upgrade. I looked for yet again more osmium kelp, which I need to craft the tier sprinklers by the way. Spent a good amount of my time figuring out how I want to set up the sprinklers in the greenhouse, and ended up with something like this. Oh, and I also crafted 4 of the new sprinklers. Not sure if I'm gonna keep the paths in here, but it's fine for now. After going to bed, I reached level 8 in foraging, which unlocks the oil press recipe. As I was collecting my artisan goods the following morning, I saw that the fermented goat cheese sells for a whopping 2,700 gold. I moved the remaining kegs and that one aging barrel inside the shed, and then kinda just smooched around the farm. Later in the evening, I went down to the beach, because it is the first day of the Winter Fair Festival. This is a 5-day event where there's new shops around and several new minigames. Ben also sells some of his goods during the festival, for absurd prices mind you. I bought 2 diamonds from the winter gift shop, chatted with Mr. Handsome, had a go at the trivia game where I did surprisingly well, magnet fishing, shooting and match pattern minigame, where I competed against none other than Bobby from Beluga Bay. He was no match for me though, and I won, giving me a free cocoa seedling as a reward. 102 was a great day. First, I got a free insect house from Eleanor in my mailbox. I don't know how you managed to squeeze that in there, but I'm grateful nonetheless. I've never had this before, so I just placed it next to the shed, not knowing that this is an actual building with construction time. I'll move it somewhere else in the future. The insect house wasn't the only exciting thing today, because the barn constructions were done, so I headed over to the ranch where I purchased 2 llamas, Rick and Morty. After I went to the carpenter where I changed the style of the new barn so that it matches with the other buildings. I crafted another auto collector, padder and feeder for the new building because I am lazy and it's nice to have everything automated. Then spent a few hours looking for gold ore and coal in the wind shaft. I stopped by the festival again where I bought another 2 diamonds, and with that I was able to finish the precious gems offering, which gave me another slime of replication. I saw that my almond tree was fully grown on day 103, which I need for an offering. I upgraded both the axe and bucknet to osmium quality. I visited Socket and Pan, the furniture section this time, to have a look at all of the cozy home designs. Obviously I cannot afford anything right now, so I was just window shopping. While in town, I gifted Lily onigiri for her birthday, and I just have to mention again, I love the house design. I do hope that I can also design my house this detailed. Lily even has 4 monitors. That is one serious gaming setup. I don't know why you would ever need 4 monitors, whether you're working or playing, but then again I only have 1, so I wouldn't know. Other than marveling at other people's homes, I didn't do that much else today. The insect house was done on day 104, but again, I have nothing to put in there, so it's just gonna stay empty for now. I had a cutscene with Eleanor, who told me that she wants to try and breed coral mosaic butterflies, since they're on the verge of extinction. Very noble of you, and also love her outfit. On my way back to the farm, I saw a snowman in the river. You okay there, buddy? I didn't really have any plans for today, so I kinda just ran around for a while, until I stumbled upon a whole new area in the woods. There's more hardwood stumps to collect, which is nice, as well as, by the looks of it, a future dig site. I don't even have the area uncovered on the map, so no idea since when this was open. A really beautiful area with a whole lot of monkey statues around, and in the center I found an orangutan. King Tan, of course. I'm sure there's something I'm supposed to do here, but that's for another day. On 106, I collected my first llama wool. After collecting my products from my artisan machines, I visited the ranch where I bought a luwak. So a luwak, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, is actually a form of coffee that consists of partially digested coffee cherries from an Asian palm shivered. Yep, you heard that correct. It's coffee made from animal poop. Ew. I will never understand the hype around coffee. After that, I upgraded my hay quality once again, opened a few fossil nodes, then went diving to meet up with the princess, Samaru and Denali, so that we can start our expedition. They drank the potion that Joey prepared for them, and now we're ready for land adventures. Well, not quite. First, they'll have to learn how to walk. After a bit of training, we headed over to the White Flamingo so that they can buy some proper clothes for winter. I'm really curious if they also have seasonal outfits like the other NPCs. Denali, Samaru and the princess will be staying at the Coral Inn for now and told me to meet them again tomorrow. I love that they're just walking around town now. I even saw Denali and the princess build a snowman at the plaza, a very nice little detail. After going to bed, I reached level 10 in farming, which is very exciting because this unlocks the recipe for aging barrels. The next day, I saw that it was snowing again, so we'll have to wait with the expedition until it's better weather. I had a look at the aging barrel crafting recipe, which requires quite a lot of rare materials. Also, this reminded me I should really craft more tappers for the tree farm. I picked up my shiny new osmium eggs and put in my pick for an upgrade as well. I enchanted my axe one more time, then went into the deep forest to gather hardwood. And thank God we have hardwood trees, poplar and mahogany ones. I chopped down almost every single tree around, which gave me a nice stack of hardwood. Back at the farm, I crafted 4 aging barrels, which I placed inside the shed. I mostly put in cheese for fermenting, but I'll figure out soon how to make wine as well. Day 108, I gave Archie and Nina a birthday present, then met up with Denali, Samaru and the princess to finally start our expedition. First, we went to Raj's Coffee Corner, where Samaru tried out coffee for the first time. He didn't seem to like it at first, but changed his mind after another sip. Then visited the lake temple, where we paid our respects to the goddess, who was very happy to see the merfolk on land. And the last stop was the bar, where we chatted with Frank and ordered some food. And yeah, this took up almost all of my day. As a quest reward, I got 3 coffee beans and a warp device. The next 2 days were mostly spent on the farm. I removed the paths from the crop field, chopped down a few trees and relocated the tappers, planted the mahogany and poplar seeds, crafted more of the tier 3 sprinklers, which I swapped out with the old ones. I moved the fruit trees and seedlings down where I chopped the trees earlier, made a fence around the animal area and also bought a second luwak, which I named Marlon. Morning on 111, I cooked 2 green smoothies, one for Suki and the other for his sister Alice. I picked up my bugnet and pickaxe, enchanted the pickaxe and learned that some spells can stack with each other, which is nice. Then went mining for copper ore and coal. Day 112 is finally here. It is the last day of the season. I harvested any remaining crops, checked up on my animals, and yeah, didn't really do much else. I went to the hot springs where I chilled with Millie and Suki and the panda and the monkeys of course. Later it was time for the New Year's festival. I chatted with everyone, bought 1 pad thai from the festival store because I remember I need that for an offering, and enjoyed the fireworks together as we say goodbye to this year and welcome the new one. And that concludes my first year on Coral Island. I've been working on this video for almost 3 weeks now, so if you enjoyed watching and want to see more, then please leave a like, it really helps me out a lot, and maybe even leave a comment down below. I love reading them. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.